Hello and welcome to another gameplay review on the Virkayu gameplay channel, and in this one we have SEJUANI versus Elise. And you know, in a lot of the games we've had recently, we talk a lot about perfectionist jungling, but what happens if everything goes wrong? And then we have to adapt and fix and counter the jungle and counter our team. Sometimes though, we need to assess what happens when things actually go right and we make the right decisions. Now of course we're against an Elise, we're against Talons, Silences, ganking spammers, and a Radiant Virtue meta. SEJUANI, right? Exactly. You have to pause and think about it, like, why did he stop? Well, because it's SEJUANI, this is exactly what we want. However, historically, she has not always been the most, not the most potent sort of like pre-6 ganker. Like, she's an amazing ganker, right? But you don't think of SEJUANI as a spam ganker. Definitely someone that's going to gank a lot, use her CC a lot, but you know, a lot of the times in pro play, especially, we see SEJUANIs go for full clears and optimize 6. But that's also incorrect because you must be ganking with SEJUANI because of said ability that she has in her kit. Virkayu.gg's comprehensive courses will give you all of the up-to-date information you need to climb on your MMR. This is all in addition to our powerful one-on-one coaching and access to the coaching VOD library. And for those of you who want to escape the elo that you're in, because obviously, let's face it, you want the next step, the Jungle Improvement PDF has been released on my site for absolute free. 37 pages of jungle terminology, exercises, and tips to help you carry, win, and climb, take your potential and convert it into reality. And the reason this works so well, right, is because we know the enemy. We could go here, of course, and we know it's warded here, so we're going to sit in the fog of war. As you can see, we know the Elise is here. We know the Elise is going red, most likely Raptors into the Grump. We can see that she's already done that. So what we do is we slide into the fog of war against the wall here. We're going to make this play, this proactive play, before the Elise gets down here. The Elise isn't fully committing yet because of the nature of the blue team being pushed in. So Nautilus flashes in, gets the hook, gets a stun, we Q in, we get the W proc, we get the E, the hook hits onto the Kai'Sa now, we'll hit our E as well. The red buff auto gets the kill. Elise is probably going to flash in here. She will flash in, gets exhausted, is forced to repel, but there's nowhere to repel to, so maybe we kill her as well. Do we ever? Yes, nice one, good job. Hooks, look at this. Boom. Welcome to Season 13. Junglers, mind games. Where's the enemy jungle starting? What do they want to do? How can I force and play that against them? In this particular case, you make your bottom lane leash you. So now they lose 2 prior because the enemy bottom lane didn't leash. Therefore, they're going to push your bottom lane in. Lazy backing, don't do that. So what we do is we loop back around, get the gank off, knowing the Elise is going to probably do the same damn thing. So we gank before she can gank by making a good read, and we're prevented from getting vertical jungled because she started top and is coming down to gank. Exquisitely done. Now what we could do is just repeat the same process, take the bottom side scuttle, take our second Krug, second Raptors. I don't think that's necessarily always the best case because you want to make sure you're still optimizing your experience, your sequencing, and all the gains you can get on the map. So Quinn uses her pride to say, is she down here? Once we see that there are no spiders or scuttles secured on the bottom side, sorry, top side, we know that she most likely is now on the bottom side. And at least we'll know, hey, the SEJUANI's probably going to go top side for the sequencing. I can do this, and then I can gank bottom lane. So the bottom lane needs to be human, back off, and respected. A lot of it is on the laners, and SEJUANI says, hey, listen, why don't I just gank other lanes now? Because you guys should have a lead. I have a lead. I've bombed Cinder already. She went for the Gus Walker, by the way, for the movement speed of the gankings and the rotations. Hey, Viego, force flash, free Q. That's why SEJUANI is an exquisite ganker, despite the fact that you don't always list her as that, right? Whereas list the Talons and the Elises and the Rek'Sais and the Grugguses and the monkeys and things like this. But everyone forgets the ball because obviously tanks don't always classify. Zac too. Zac is a really good early ganker, but obviously he benefits from explicitly having multiple points into the E, like at least 5, 6, you know? Well, 5 would be the same thing. So Elise is looking for the dive here, and this is where we can really talk about, maybe I should have just shadowed the bottom side here. We're going to lose, actually, but we're getting 4-man goon squatted, as expected. Ryze is actually followed up. SEJUANI, in the meantime, is saying, well, I'm going to focus on my sequencing. Nothing I can do about this. Nothing I can do about this. No, not entirely true. What you could have done is just gone to the bottom side, shadowed, and counter-ganked and killed, right? But at the same time, we decided, hey, look, the map exists, not only bottom lane. And that's what I want you to think about when you're a jungler not in high elo. That's why I picked a Master Tier game, because it's different. What we can do is take this, outside and rule this, sequence back to this. Good sequencing now, right? The wolves and the grump will spawn together in unison. We can then cut in and push this up. We haven't taken our blue, but we know the Elise was on the bottom side there, so we know now that her tier 2 Raptors, the second small Raptors, have already spawned. So we're going to go and snack it. But they see this, and Elise could just collapse and rotate down, which is important to note when you do this play, so make sure you have the smite. Talon decides to go in. Because Ryze was on the bottom side pushing that, our bottom lane rotated to the mid lane. So we're shattering, Elise shows up, level 4, level 5. What are you gonna do, Miss Spider Queen? I stole your stuff. She's forced now to go upside, so Quinn says, okay, I'm basing. So basically, if you're thinking about, oh, Elise is just gonna repeat gank this though, I don't think bottom lane saw that. Ooh, the hook hits, but the cocoon shall rise from the ashes and... or not. There you go. That's most likely what you're used to facing in your gold, diamond, platinum level Elises, right? Low elo, please don't play Elise. So Sejuani did the different strategies, excuse me, that we've been seeing a lot of other junglers do, like Canyon, where he would just stay bottom side, sacrifice those top side camps, and let them stay level 1. I don't agree with that for most of you in 99% of the games you're playing, because your experience optimization is going to be huge when those changes come through. And I've put out a short on the main channel. You can go watch for my opinion on that. You also need to make sure that you're getting objectives and controlling the river and the map. So our bottom lane are now forcing themselves into the jungle, making kills and picks on the jungler, which is great. Okay, but playing around winning lanes is equally as important as playing around losing lanes. The problem is everyone's always doom and gloom. I'm a ganking jungler, and I did this, and my laners didn't use their lead. Okay, so, you know, then gank the lane again. Now we have 6. Let's use... Unlucky. So basically, yes, you want to use your 6 as soon as possible. We've defended our top side, we've resequenced our camps, we've gotten up above, we've gotten a bottom side scuttle, we've cut the map where we needed to. The Ryze has actually gone on the back line here to kill the Kai, so I don't think we need to see that. Talon goes in, we miss the Q, he goes in and ults the Xayah and kills her, and we basically go lol. And I think this is a really good example. Okay, so, anyway, as I was saying, when everything goes wrong and the game is completely out of your control and you have no idea how to carry it. Wow. Okay, so at least now goes top lane as well. In the meantime, can hold this, get some experience back. But the Sejuani has fused very good bottom lane presence with translating to pushing and holding mini waves in the mid lane, with translating that into basically ganking and controlling top lane a little bit, controlled her quadrants, and float from side to side to get scuttles, and of course tried to impact bottom lane again. Unfortunately, we whiffed on our R in a pretty big way, which causes everyone's demise. But hey, not a jungle diff, because we're going to leave base immediately, see this outsider rule, which is, of course, I want the Herald, but I see 2 people top lane going in on my Quinn, and I see my Ryze roaming. So I'm going to support my Ryze with my blue jungle item to support his blue skin, and move up to the top lane. 7 on our ultimate here. We do a flash Q if we wanted to use it. No point doing that. We gap close with the Q. We get the W. We cancel the auto attack or hit a minion. It doesn't really matter. We hit the ultimate onto the Elise. Nautilus flows on through and hits the flash hook. Juicy, juicy gaming. So as you can see, when you gank well and farm well and control your quadrants well, ganking junglers like the Elise just don't really get a foot in the game. They just don't find ways to truly get fed and be able to really impact the map. And for you, it's pretty damn easy when you do that. What I loved about it was, hey, I could shadow this and compromise myself, but what if she doesn't do that and now she's farming? Which against farming junglers will be the case. So I go to the top side here and make sure I get my Grump, my Wolves, I gank top lane, I take the Scuttle, I gank mid lane, I do some counter jungling, then I fall back to my blue, go to the bottom side, I get the bottom Scuttle. Talon is doing what most mid laners try and do in your solo queue game. This is what happens when your team rotates. Now, you can say they don't rotate, but guarantee you they do more often than you think. Problem is, are you using the games where you have rotating laners to your advantage? That's the question. Because sometimes you will have laners that will rotate and laners that will love to help you, but you don't take the Herald when they're able to. You take the Herald too late, too soon, and they're not able to help you when you do it. That compromises you as well. So the good decision making is important. Now, Nautilus has flown across the map, and I just wanted to reverse this to show you that even though there's a huge lead, whoopsie, I swung my camera, the Xayah is able to, the Kai'Sa gets killed and the Xayah falls. So as expected, when your Nautilus is perma roaming and flying around the map, your ADC is still going to die 2v1. That happens in high elo, it happens in every elo, don't expect it to change. It is what it is. So what we do now is we've obviously done a good job of outsetting ruling, taking everything, as I said, falling back to this. Now we can fall back to the bottom side. We would like the objective, but we must wait for our ADC to show up again. And of course, Kai'Sa will most likely need to reset now, no mana and some golden pocket. This is warded, okay? So what we do is we keep the camp in here. We see them moving here. We see the Kai'Sa basing, which is important because we know that they're going to be on this. And as we collapse through this, here we go. Have a look. We queue through the wall here. We do a flash, but we don't have smite. The Kai'Sa backing there is a great example of when everyone decides, hey, I want to do the dragon. Yeah, but Does your ADC want to do the dragon? Is this even a fight you want to take? And it's not worth. I know people think, hey, Hextech Dragon, let's die for it. If you all die there and wipe, it's not worth it at all. The Kai'Sa needed to go back to base. The Kai'Sa had to go by. We avoid and circumvent vision here to sneak into this as well. Now we move into here, check the bush, make sure we get the control ward. Obviously, we see that. Kai'Sa is now forced to back off. More plates, Herald secured. Let's just go ahead and take this first tower. So back timings can be abused by you and the enemy team, in that you're abusing each other's, right? So if you can abuse the enemy's back timings, they will abuse their own back timings as well. So you get 2-for-1 special, right? So because they don't really think about the Kai'Sa and the Kai'Sa doesn't think about the team, we say, fine, we'll take the dragon and then we're going to use the Herald because your back timings are distorted because Karma tried to take the dragon. Karma tried to take the dragon, which meant Kai'Sa came by herself back to lane, so we can 3v1 pressure into snacking the turret. And now what we've done is ganked beautifully, shadowed beautifully, sequenced well, used the outsider rule, ganked every lane, pushed waves, taken objectives, and now taken the first tower. Again with the turret tower thing, man. What's wrong with my brain? I keep wanting to say tower and turret at the same time, and then I just sound, I don't know, it doesn't come out right. So the Elise, though, has been successfully eradicated from the game. And that was done just through an exquisite red side quadrant, tracking the ganking jungler, cutting in before them, and then killing them, right? Perfect. Now we swap to the other side, let them go coin flip ganks, who cares? I'm going to sequence up a whole bunch of experience, and then in the next patch, that experience is going to be valuable as well. Viego using his E to move around the map, always a bit annoying. Take our blue buff, obviously could do Wolves blue grub, but we see our team is kind of coalescing mid. We have our Silas going down here. We should probably shadow them in case a pick is about to be made. Maybe we are the pick that is going to be made. But we have Aftershock. Nautilus moves. Nice double knock up there. We have the Xayah in the backline. Good route. We kill the Viego. That was messy. That was very messy. So basically, we got picked off a little bit. That's why I like Aftershock. It gives you those resistances to reposition. Nautilus did a great job going in and hitting more stuns. We repositioned out of the fight using our Q, and then we can go back in with our flash and with our ultimate. And obviously our Fed ADC is using the lead that we gave her to actually get kills, even though she's also dying a little bit. At least she has extra stats from the gankings. And I think that's what you're thinking about when we talk about ganking bottom lane, getting bottom lanes fed. Hey, can my ADC do the things I need them to do when the time arrives? But obviously keep yourself strong, right? The spam ganking meta doesn't work in most elos where you need to have a bit of experience in it. Like Elise shows up here, she's down 2 levels, you know, basically almost 30 CS at this particular moment because we've had great talent jungling, great objectives, everything's been good. Very, very good jungling, and we've Radiant Virtue completed, which is going to give us super healings, scaling with our max HP, and of course SEJUANI. SEJUANI is one of those champions that really thrives heavily on HP. Because we have our passive that gives us those resistances, right? This right here, this one over here. We don't really need to build it. As long as we're tanking with Aftershock and that up, we don't really need to worry too much about resistances early, which is why you would typically see jungle item into like Warmogs back in the day. A lot of HP, and then you go Stoneblade. Here we go, Q to rotate, R to hit and stun, and then chain CC with Nautilus, get the free kills, everyone has fun, except the enemy, ha ha ha. And now, we're clearing this. Obviously the second Herald is a thing, but I would just probably go down and take the bottom scuttle. I know we're clearing vision. I would just take this, look for this, clear all of this, collapse on this, let our bottom lane do that, let Viego deal with that. So now we can get into the jungle control and kill. But obviously the safer thing is, you know, we can just push this out and hit it and get the turret. Probably should hit it with our team, but we're tanks, so we don't really do that much damage. I do kind of like securing this if I can, but if I'm not entirely sure if my team's going to rotate for us to kill it. Obviously, the Queen can't hear. You know, I prefer the denial of a bit more experienced denial. Collapse on the side lane gives us a bit of a window to reset, and then we can just group and do it again. So, depends on that. Depends on your team. Play properly. Don't give your wolves up to the rise. That is very kind. Please don't do those things. Just take your camps yourself. Especially rises, because they don't always end up... Some of them are great, and some of them are not so great, effectively. Second Herald spawns, map control jungling, Elise don't really care, Talon's bot side, Karma's bot side, so we have the advantage. Viego hits it down here for some particular reason, so that's free for us. You're seeing the map control here, right? We just skip on it and Rise ult. He's gonna ult over the wall, but then we can follow, no? Well, that was an exciting play. possibilities, I suppose. Yeah, great map control. But it all starts with compounding leads, right? And I made a coaching video on the coaching channel today talking about compounding leads. And when you have the ability to compound your leads, you just straight up win every game. If you use it. If you don't use it and you throw it, or you don't actually take that lead in the first place, you're screwed. And like, it starts from level 1. This is one, he starts from level 1. And we had a little bit of a lecture in the bootcamp today talking about, hey, macro-wise, should we let them take this and push this, you know, and rotate, or should we take the Herald and kind of just say, you have it, we let you have it, and instead of collapsing on you and fighting, we're just going to push up the Herald in the mid lane. And obviously here, what we're having is a bit of a hybrid approach. They don't have the ability to split push. In the game we were covering, they did that 4-stack here. Do we just give up this dragon possibility and just, you know, shove mid with Herald? Yes. Yes. Always good. But if you activate the Herald, you have someone who can split, and we can cut them off and make a pick. We try to hit the W, but she positioned, so we just hit the R. That's a dead karma. And now, of course, we do get this turret as well. That time I said it correctly. So, yeah, a bit of wishy-washy with the macro there. Apologies, but as always, read the map. Map is king. You see them splitting bot lane 4 people, and you have Herald mid, just go mid and bust open their base. They have to respond. Most of the time, you can fall back to dragon afterwards. But if you can contest a dragon and just kill everyone with the perma-fisting mechanics, do it. And that's a little bit of a joke on the perma-frost. Because SEJUANI and ice. Alright, we take the inhib now, and we have the at least rage splitting in the bot lane. So this should be a nice and easy close, but of course we have seen throws from high-level players. What you're seeing here is trigger pulls. Numbers advantage into CC chaining. Numbers advantage into CC chaining. If you have numbers advantage and you have CC, you want to chain it. Don't waste your time too much. And of course, you see the Silas, the Rise is killed to the Talon. We have the at least rage splitting. We no longer have a wave. It's only 17 minutes. We're flashing, we're killing, we're trying to get all this stuff done. Kai'Sa gets a kill there. And of course gets a double kill. Okay. We're able to survive, at least gets a bounty. Now we're greeding, right? This happens all the time in lower elos. We greed to try and win these games, and in coaching it's like, why? Just back off, go back to base, spend your cash money, kill her, take this, rejoin, do it again, or like ideally push another wave because this will push anyway. They're going to be able to farm all of these supers, right? So if you don't group up and actually push the map, what happens is you end up just losing. So, yeah. Don't give them free supers for no particular reason. Always costs you a win. Right, we don't really need to farm at this point. We've got the Sunfire completed. We're going to go into a late tier. We could have gone early tier if we wanted to do that. Don't full quadrant clear. Just take a camp on your way to their side. Make sure you take their side, right? The denial here is pretty big. And the Elise still has 9 on her Moss Stomper. She's really far behind. Really good example of how taking a ganking jungler, eradicating her from the game, then using your ability to sequence better than her to compound your lead further, rotating for the objectives and the ganks that are possible. Don't overstay to let yourself die when your team is dying. Take other resources in the meantime. My team's dying, don't care, push the wave. My team's dying, I can't do anything, okay, leave from some camps. Ping-pong the objectives with Dragon Herald, and you win, right? It's quite a simple formula in this particular meta, and most people just don't do it. They always flounder in one of those moments trying to help their team. You know, they will just try and be aggressive and counter-gank every single opportunity instead of saying, oh, look, I've done my job. Now, how do I accentuate my lead as much as possible? So really, really good job by this SEJUANI. Really, really good job by everyone. But you can see the jungler leads the way. The ADC still die. The ADC still make mistakes. And really good snowballing example of how to use a tank against an early game jungler in an early game meta to bring your scaling point, your end game forward, right? Use your CC powerfully, but also remember that you can still sequence reasonably well with the pets, with the new reality, and obviously your Radiant Virtue. While not hugely giga in this game, excuse me at the microphone, while not hugely giga, still decent values that obviously help in these close fights against assassins. So just a quick one for you. I didn't want to leave you guys on the gameplay channel high and dry while I do the bootcamp, so hopefully you enjoyed this quick snippet. A few coaching tips for you, SEJUANI tips for you, and as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial.